Hi, Dave Kites again from the OTOW Woodshop. In this little clip, I want to talk to you about a problem that's been happening in the shop more often lately and what you can do to avoid it. The problem is that the vacuum systems for the two saw stop saws is getting plugged. It's getting plugged because people are shaving off little bits of wood and they're going down the crack in the throat plate. What I'm talking about is, say you have this piece and you're going to put it here and you just want to take just a little bit off of there, but there's going to be a little bit left on the outside of the blade here, very thin, okay, less than a 1/16 maybe. This crack right here, and especially back here, is plenty big enough for those pieces to go down into the vacuum system, and they do. And when they go down in the vacuum system, the 4-inch hose that's underneath the saw here that takes them from the plenum that's around the blade, takes them from the plenum through the hose and down to the exit of the saw in the back where our vacuum pipe hooks to, that hose doesn't pass those strips. They get caught in there. So after one or two of them get caught in there, they start catching the sawdust that comes. And then if another strip or two comes, they catch too. The first thing you know, the hose is all plugged up. And then the vacuum system's not working, and at that point you're going to have sawdust coming out all over the top of the saw and also going down and building up on the inside of the saw. And as I've explained before, the buildup in the inside of the saw is bad because eventually it gets onto the gears of the mechanisms underneath the saw that are there to elevate and bevel the blade, and when those gears get loaded with sawdust, they don't work very well. So you don't want to let that happen for very long. Now, what we found about a week ago was, and there's a still picture that's going to be shown right now, I guess, in the video, and in that picture you'll see the hose was completely plugged. And it was completely plugged with sawdust, and these strips, all of these strips were in that hose at one time. They'd all been shaved off the sides of a piece like this. This little bitty piece gets right here, goes right down the slot, see? And when it gets in there with one or two of its buddies, it starts accumulating. I'm amazed that this many different, each one of these of course is a pass on the saw. I'm amazed that so many of them would still be able to get sucked down in there. The vacuum system was doing a super job. It was pulling every one of them down into the system. And eventually, though, it plugged completely, and I saw that there was sawdust all over the top of the saw, so I got to investigating, and that's what I found. And there's a couple of other pictures that I took at the time that you'll see here in this little video too. But all this at once in there. The person doing this didn't realize what was happening. Didn't realize the consequences. That's why I'm making this video, circulating it to everybody, so you'll be aware of the situation and you won't let this happen to you. This one, obviously, he's almost 1/4 inch thick, but he'll go down this slot back here. So, in order to avoid that happening, what we want to do is replace this throat plate, which is the saw stop standard throat plate. And incidentally, the reason they make that slot as wide as it is so this blade can be beveled without changing the throat plate. Most table saws, as I told you before in saw orientations, most table saws, you have to put a throat plate in with a bigger gap in it when you bevel the blade. This saw, you don't. They designed it so the arbor moves laterally in addition to the blade tilting, so it the blade kind of goes like this instead of just going like this. So they get away with a smaller slot, but it still leaves clearance between the blade and between the riving knife. Okay? This throat plate, homemade for us here, fits right in here, just like that. Nothing to lock it down, but it'll stay there. It's made so that it fits quite close to the blade and to the riving knife, as you can see. But you cannot bevel the blade with this in place. If you bevel the blade, you'll ruin this piece. Okay? And first of all, it'll bind like crazy. So this is only for 90 degrees straight up and down cutting, which is what people were doing anyway. Now when I cut this little thin strip off, it'll just fall away here. Okay? Like I said, this crack is very small now. If you're still worried about it, you can put a piece of tape on here. And the negatives to the piece of tape is that it might interfere with your little strip falling away if it's sticky tape and it sticks there. But on the other hand, it's just waste anyways. But this is 99% effective anyway, so don't worry about the tape. So if you put this in and you use it when you're cutting these thin pieces off of here, they won't go down there and plug up the vacuum system. Final words are, go to the website, the OTOW Woodshop website, under education, videos, you'll see videos for this saw stops vacuum system, how to clean it out, and for that #1 saw stops vacuum system, how to clean it out. All about how it works, how to clean it out. So if you come in and you got sawdust all over the table when you start sawing, it's probably plugged. Those videos show you how to check and see if it's plugged and what to do about it if it is. It's not that hard, and you really ought to take the time to look at those videos. But remember, this guy, if you're making real thin cut-offs. That's it for this little tip. Thank you.